The purpose of my speech is to talk about etiquette. Etiquette, as defined by Google, is a customary code of polite behavior in society among members of a particular profession or group. My understanding of that definition is etiquette sets rules and customs and or traditions to maintain control with behavior in any situation or in any environment or groups. I believe that there is a rule for everything in how we should behave, speak, dress, eat, and act, especially when in the presence of others. For example, you attend a party mainly because you believe it'll be fun. Depending on the type of crowd, the place, the time, as well as the theme, you can gauge whether or not you would like to attend and if you will most likely have fun. There's always that one variable that can make the party or the gathering or event swing in either way, whether it'll be fun or whether it all goes to pot, and that's the people and their ability as well to choose and practice etiquette. It's the one variable that we can't change or control in any situation. It's the people. There are various types of etiquette, but they all have the same set of general rules that we need to follow in order for the outcome to be desirable. Some types of etiquette have more than one, and others depending on the complexity of the environment for that etiquette. An article written by Paul R., posted and published in LinkedIn in 2020, stated that the creation of etiquette was during sometime around the 14th century by the French. Paul writes that etiquette was a consciously developed written rule set for social interaction. The word etiquette is French for the word placard. According to Google, a placard is a postal or sign for a public display. Those who created etiquette were said to be the French nobles. It was said that King Louis XIV used etiquette to fix his spot in politics because he was concerned with the position as the supreme monarch. So the king created rules and wrote them on placards, and they assigned people that were attending his dinners how to behave, what to wear, where to sit, and so on. In America, the rules translated by George Washington in a book named The Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior. Originally, it was written by the Jesuits, but Washington was said to have lived by it, who copied them as well as lived by them, and he did this at a very young age. His purpose, however, was slightly different than the French created them. Washington's purposes was to proclaim our respect for others, and in turn give us a gift of self-respect and heightened self-esteem. Which brings me back to the whole idea of etiquette was to live in a more polite society by just practicing good behavior all around. As with everything through time, etiquette has changed some with each generation. It has become somewhat watered down. People in society can say what we want to say in public, as well as dress and behave in mannerisms that are not sometimes becoming of how people should behave in different circles. For example, let's talk about business and professional etiquette. There are rules to follow that can seem some stringent, but when it comes to having certain deliverables to other people, so it's not to offend them or drop the ball, it's best to follow the rules of the business etiquette, at least the very general ones. For instance, how you answer an office phone could be detrimental to the business if not performed correctly using the appropriate form of etiquette. Just today, I visited a nail spa that I frequent for manicures and pedicures. There was a sign in the window announcing that they had moved to a different location, and it even had the address and the phone number. When I looked at the address of the new location, it was incomplete. So I dialed the number. When the person on the other end answered the phone, I asked, "Was this the nail spa new location?" She gave me some type of answer like, "Yes, yes, this is the place." I'll go, "Well, your address is incomplete, and I need the complete address so I can get there." "Oh, yes, yes, this is the nail spot. Are you coming?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm coming." She said, I said, "Well, I need the address." And she said, "Well, yeah, that's the address." I go, "What is the address?" She said, "Well, are you coming?" I said, "Yes, I'm coming. What is the address?" So we kept going around and around in circles, and it was clear that she could not speak English. She could not understand English. I'm not sure if she knew what the address was. And I think it was inappropriate for that person to be answering the telephone based on the conversation itself. And so I ended up going to a different location, a much better one. So, fortunate for me, in the city of Chicago, there are nail spas on every block. Unfortunate for them, they lost business of maybe 2 or 3 people or more, depending on how many people did come to the shop and try to get the address to the new location. The new place allowed walk-ins. It didn't take long. It was clean and spacious. They offered drinks, wine, soda, and water, and they were very courteous and fast. I think I spent more time looking for another place to attend, to get service, than they did on the service itself. In other types of business, a dress code and behavior may come into play before the actual communication. And what I mean is sometimes the type of communication where I'm asked to answer a question about an assignment is completed versus me having to speak to people all day. We must wear a uniform. Most of us kind of make up the uniform should be, and we sometimes can get away with wearing a graphic T-shirt. We're in a place where we're not supposed to wear a non-graphic, where we're supposed to wear non-graphic T-shirts. In other words, where I work at now presently, we wear scrubs and a top. We also wear a smock or a lab jacket, and because we have a lab jacket, we are allowed to get away with the graphic tees if we should wear one. Also, leggings are not allowed in most places unless you wear them under a skirt. Sometimes you can get away with them, but especially not in a hospital setting where most people do wear scrubs. However, on casual Fridays, we can wear jeans. Some people push the envelope and they tend to wear the leggings. But again, because we wear smocks or lab jackets, we can get away with that, and it's deemed acceptable. Another thing about business etiquette is our communication. We aren't allowed to carry our cell phones around back in the day. Now it's acceptable. And we can even use our cell phones while in the office. However, if we are on the floor delivering and in the presence of patients and other units, we are told that we're not supposed to have our phones out, which I think is appropriate. However, we do have some people that do have their phones out, that are FaceTiming, that are playing loud music. And again, if we're not in front of patients, it's perfectly acceptable, which I think it shouldn't be, because we can sometimes push the envelope a little bit too far and listen to music that other people may not enjoy, and we're not listening to it through an earpiece. And so it's kind of inclusive, for lack of a better word. There are other forms of etiquette as well, like social and social media etiquette. Um, they're both similar in the same, because we're dealing with people and what people think, how people feel, um, sort of like a non-formal way, or non-formal social. And sadly, however, as times go, we tend to not follow the rules, such as rules on how we should post, as both the content creator as and the content viewer. Depending on the circles you may travel in, certain language may be, used and accepted. Like I've heard in many circles, not that any that I've been involved in, that women sometimes refer to each other, even though they're friends, as the B word, and which I think in those circles are perfectly okay if that's the rules that they want to follow by. However, if you get angry with someone like a cashier or someone that is performing customer service, I think it's inappropriate to use the B word or call them, which I've also heard as well. I think it crosses the line of rules on how we should treat each other, even in fits of anger. Etiquette is the set of rules that we should continue to practice, no matter what the environment is. As George Washington wrote, again, proclaim our respect for one another. In turn, it will give us the gift of self respect and a heightened self esteem. It is another form of being cordial and appropriate, whether referring to a dress code, a behavior, or even communication. We need them in business, social circles, education, and in our homes as well as our neighborhoods. Any place where we're in contact with others and must connect, and not just to survive, but to thrive with a certain level of quality and field of life. We need the rules in society to continue to live full lives, each and every one of us, simply not just because we are not alone.